welcome to LadyGang. I am Becca Tobin here with Jack Vanek and Keltie Knight.
Snaps, baby.
Keltie has a really intense spray tan. She hasn't washed off yet. She's just
I'm cooking.
marinating
Keltie,
in it.
Is this a self-tan? And if so, what brand is it?
Well, I'm trying to consume less this year. I watched the Netflix consuming documentary. So I have a promise with myself that I'll use up all my old toiletries. I mean, I donated so many of them, just the back stock, if you will. But this is a mix of the Clarins drops, a face Neutrogena face spray, and the Dolce Vita face spray. I just did layer after layer after layer.
Okay.
Dolce Vita is a shoe line.
Yeah.
Do you mean Vita Libretto
Dolce
or
Glow.
whatever?
Dolce Glow.
I've never
But
heard
also,
of it.
Jack, we can't take pointers from Keltie. She actually has the gift of skin that does not turn orange.
She also has that Accutane skin. So it's like no
Yeah.
pores
But
to
I
soak
am-
up the tan.
Yeah.
But you always get brown. Like, you're never an orange person. You have a great skin. You
I'm
have a
not
great
orange.
complexion for a
Thank you.
fake tan.
Yeah, mine always
It's
goes
not
orange.
even.
Mine
It's not
too.
even.
It's
My
that-
elbows are black.
It
My
does- I'm
bottom
not
of my feet
shocked
are
about.
black.
Dude, it doesn't matter. Even if it's not even and it's all fucked up, it's better than being pale. That's my mantra.
I think
Yeah,
it's
I
with
look pretty good.
there. I think there's a spectrum. I think sometimes it's actually better to be pale. Like when I
No.
look down at someone's feet and the orange is like baked into the knuckles of the toes, and then
Yeah.
there's just like weird. Anyway, all right.
I'd
Well,
still rather be splotchy.
I mean, the issue I have is like when you have a friend that has too much spray tan, which I have had it before, and people have come to me and said, makeup artists, and then they're like, it's too much.
Oh,
like,
yeah. Me
my
all the
friend,
time.
Lisa Barlow, I'm just going to call her out. Lisa, I love you. I think you're amazing. It's too much tan. She's too tanned. It's not the right
Yeah.
color. The Miley Cyrus at the Golden Globes is the perfect tan, and it's your friend Afton's friend.
I know. Go by Flo. She's tanned me before. It was like a huge get for her, but she looked amazing.
she looks
it's
great.
the perfect tan. So
Yeah.
She
we just need to.
Yeah, it kind of just gives you it's the summertime look in the dead of winter, but
Yeah.
it's not like I am tan. It's
I mean,
I have a glow.
I want I am tan, but that's just
Right.
me. The
That's true.
tanner, the better I feel.
Okay,
Yeah.
well,
Okay.
it's time for
Good week,
Yes, it is.
bad week. Oh no.
I'll go first.
okay.
Great.
Because speaking of Lisa Barlow, you guys will love my good week. Because when I was recovering from my surgery, I decided to binge the last season of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City.
Holy
so I
shit. Holy
am
shit. Oh my God.
I'm on the Reddit. I'm reading all of the posts.
Wait, like this
and-
current season.
Yeah. So I'm like, I'm watching.
Wait, did you watch Receipts Timeline screenshots that the whole Monica Garcia thing, or is it this current
No,
season
just
that's
this
airing?
season. So I've
Mary's
watched.
son, the Mary's son stuff. Okay,
Yeah.
just need to know
Cabo,
where you're at. I need to know where you're
Brittany,
at.
the whole thing.
Brittany.
Well, I watched like some of last season. I will watch it when my mom has it on. But this time I was like, I need to like binge something. However, the first like couple episodes I was binging when I was on hydrocodone, so I don't like really remember what was going on.
It's probably best to view them that way.
Yeah. So, but like I'm in. I'm obsessed.
Okay,
and,
who's your favorite?
I mean, I love Lisa, and
Obviously.
I'm like really into Bronwyn,
Yeah.
and I know that she's very controversial. I think Brittany is probably the worst housewife adjacent person I've ever
Worst
seen.
/ best.
I mean, but is she though? Here's my problem with her. So we've talked about how I was
The high count hair. For those
high
of you
body
who don't
count, high body
watch,
count.
people, high body count hair is like when your hair looks like slutty.
Well, so she's like a friend of, I think she was Heather's friend or something that they brought on. This is the problem with her. And this is, we've talked about how I was maybe invited to be going on Real Housewives of Orange County
Yeah.
and how I would be the worst person to do it because I'm too sensitive. I'm watching these fights. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? The thing with Brittany is she can't take it. Like people start like coming after her and she starts like crying in a corner. And I'm like, that's
But then she
what I would
bounces
do.
back in 3 seconds. She's back drinking margaritas. It's a beautiful thing.
Making announcements about the dumbest shit in the world.
I have an announcement.
I mean,
have a boyfriend.
It was honestly masterful. There's an episode that came out recently where like they are every single one. Oh, because so she was recording them in the Sprinter van, which is like a
Yes.
cardinal rule. Like you can't do that.
And then she kept being like, no, I was sending a voice note to my daughter. It's like
The story changed 500 times.
Yeah.
But
But
here's,
then they all. Go ahead, Becca.
can we just address like, I mean, I know they don't like them to break the fourth wall a lot. I know that that's annoying to be like, hey, but in that moment, I'm like, there are cameras rolling and they're on microphones.
I know.
So that moment is being captured.
It's
Who
literally being
fucking
recorded.
cares if she, like, it's so, it's asking me to step outside of reality too much. And Meredith's reaction was
Oh my God.
fucking bananas. It was bananas. And I think that maybe they're like looking for things, or they hate her, or they know that if they don't bring the Monica-sized drama from last season, we're going to be disappointed. But that was just so bizarre. Like, so bizarre.
Well, I love Meredith because she goes 0 to 100
You
so
can
fucking fast.
She is nuts.
She's so chill, and she's like, I am a really nice person. And then she'll be like, Yareva!
Remember we had her on the podcast in the first season, and it was when she was appearing, she was presenting as the most normal.
Yes.
Level-headed, the voice of reason. I have just been so thrown by these women.
Dude,
when Meredith got
cray-cray.
mad at Whitney for making bath bombs. Like, as if, so Whitney has like always been kind of a scrappy hustler, and she'll make anything. She'll throw Whitney Rose on anything.
Wasn't there like a huge controversy about her jewelry
Alibaba?
line? Yeah.
Sure. I hate to break it to you, but everything in the world comes from like one
Alibaba,
factory, but live your life. Anyway, so Whitney made bath bombs, and Meredith was like so offended, and she's like as if Meredith owns the right
to the bath bomb,
all baths, just because she loves baths.
This is literally the equivalent of Keltie calling Jack and being like, "How dare you start a book club? You know, reading is my thing."
I knew Keltie would be upset about that.
No, I didn't. I didn't know this. So maybe it is the equivalent.
I'm not upset. I'm not upset about it. I'm excited. I want more reading. I will tell you that early in the podcast, early in the LadyGang podcast, when I met my friends Becca and Jack, I copied everything they did. I wanted to be cool like Jack, so I did the music festivals and the Twitter and the Vine and the Instagram reels, and I did her vacation reels. I did with the same filters. I did everything. Becca, I stole her style. There is not a double-sided pantsuit that I don't own at this point in a nude color. So I know, but no one ever wanted to steal anything of me. So I've never known this sacrifice. And now that Jack's entire personality is Keltie Knight. She's got a renovation. She's got a renovation series on Instagram. She's asking people to vote on tiles. She's getting free.
You can't have a monopoly on house renovations and books.
And now she has a book club. And now she's like big into reading. And I know what it's like, what you've sacrificed when we first started LadyGang. So now it's fair. You know, everything's fair.
My thing about my book club is we're reading books that you would never read.
That's not true. God of the Wood is your first choice. I read it 2 months ago.
Oh, you did?
Oh,
well,
yes.
Never.
Do you want to hear something embarrassing?
And by the way, God of the Woods was sent by our dog-eared book friends in Iowa or wherever they're from, Des Moines, and it was for Becca.
Des Moines?
It was the Becca
Did you
pick.
add an S to Des Moines?
Of course she did, yes.
Becca didn't have room in her bag because she brings that fucking base luggage,
it's because
double stuffed every time she comes to LA. She can't take anything home. So I was like, I'll read it and I'll keep it here for you. And I read it, and it's a very scary book.
Terrible.
No,
it's
you
a
told
great
me
book,
not to
but it's
take
scary.
it. You told me not to take it because a kid goes missing.
Wait,
kid goes missing.
Also so funny you thought it was scary. I thought it was like the most tame book ever.
Okay. Anyway, so Jack, what's your bad week?
Oh, my bad week is, so we're talking about on the podcast last week about, my periods after surgery, and I had not started my period yet. Well, I started it yesterday, and I have to say,
it's better.
It's probably the worst period I've ever had.
Oh no.
Well, that's normal. That's normal because your uterus has been cut open.
Yeah.
It's gonna. We can't judge number one. I mean, I don't know because after my surgery, I never got a period again. But
No, I would agree with Keltie that you can't.
I would think there's some pent up trauma. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, it's pretty bad. And then I couldn't remember exactly when my doctor said I could use a tampon. And I'm like, when it comes to directions for surgeries and for anything health,
Anything in life.
Well, no, I'm hyper vigilant and I never want to make a mistake. So I'm like, I can't remember if she said 2 weeks or 4 weeks. It's been 4 weeks, but maybe I should wait a little longer. So I'm not using a tampon. And right before our podcast, I bled through my pants. And it's just a free for all happening right now.
You need your period panties.
I have my period panties and I need to wash them. So I'm now wearing a pad of my mom's. So it's going really well over here. But I've got to say, no improvement. Maybe opposite improvement.
Sorry.
For periods.
Well, I think you're an idiot for thinking it was going to be wonderful the first time.
I didn't. I mean, she pretty much told me, she's like, well, your period's not going to get any better anyways. But I thought maybe just a little gift, but
seems weird.
You don't know yet. Be patient.
I'll let it adjust. All
right. Okay. I'll go next.
Yep.
My good week is that I've discovered, so even though I was born in 1986, I think that actually, Keltie, you can answer this for me. Was it your age group that was into the Lawrence brothers, like Joey Lawrence?
Yeah.
Okay.
Whoa.
Okay, so I couldn't tell you what I always heard the name, maybe because of my sister, but I remember it was like a thing, but it missed me, right?
Yeah.
I recently on Instagram was served their Instagram. The three brothers.
The brothers have a
podcast together.
They have a podcast, right.
Yes. And Matthew Lawrence's Instagram, there's like, I didn't see who it was. I just saw three hot dudes dancing like in a funny way. And I was like, wow, who are these hot dudes? Yeah. And then I went down a like 45-minute what are the chances that all three brothers in general, cut out being famous, are hot? Yeah. Very slim. What are the chances of anybody who made it out of child stardom being hot? Very slim. Yeah. They are bucking the odds. Those three guys, we got to get on their podcast. They are steamy.
I think one of them starred in a Christmas movie recently, and I was like, yes.
And I got upset.
No, all of them did.
They all did it together.
Yes,
and I got upset because
the
girl who got to be Matthew Lawrence's love interest was on their podcast talking about it. I'm like, how come no one called me? Could have been me.
Yeah.
Now we just sell you as a package deal, baby.
So I just thought everybody, if you loved them as children or didn't know who they were at all, it's a real treat for the eyes. And it just, we're all looking for tingles everywhere.
Yes.
I need all the tingles I can get.
Me too. My bad week is that I watched that documentary called Don't Die on Netflix.
Oh my God. Guy, I cannot stand him.
So for those of you who don't know what this is, you have to have seen him at some point on the Daily Mail or on your Instagram. It's a tech billionaire who has spent millions of dollars, and his like life's work is getting him to live as long as he possibly can and like extreme longevity. So and
his new thing now is he thinks he won't die at all.
Right. He thinks he can outrun death.
He thinks by the time that technology catches, he will never die.
Yeah. So his day consists of, you all have to watch it. It's fascinating. It's like a 4-hour routine every morning. His life is consumed. He has like 170 supplements a day that he has to take. And it's the craziest, wildest thing. And I started getting such anxiety when I was watching it because I was like, why are and then it's like he's created this whole cult around it. So there's all these people who are trying to quote not die. Yeah. And I'm just like, I got anxious about not doing anything to help myself in longevity because I'm not doing any of the things. I can't even commit to anything other than a clear stem supplement once a day. Even that's hard for me. So I'm just overwhelmed and I'm like, do we all need to be doing this? Are there going to be people that outlive us for the rest? Like, what is it?
No, this is the ironic thing. I'm not going to say something's going to happen to him, but you don't know what's going to happen to you.
You're going to get hit by a car.
You could get hit by a car any day. Like, so, and also it's just like, I'm sure his like risk of disease is down, but it's not zero.
True.
You know, it could come for you when it's coming for you.
Microplastics are coming for us. Like, it doesn't matter.
No, the thing about microplastics is they're in everybody, and they're trying to do a study about microplastics, and they could not find a control group because it's in every cell of our body. It doesn't matter who you are. So this dude, I think it's just so funny because I'm like, the irony of it is it's like not going to work. And then you hear about people like Jared's grandma who smoked a pack a day and ate hot dogs all the time, and she lived to like 95 years old.
The lady who was like, I'm 103 and my secret is 6 Diet Cokes a day. And I'm like, you're my icon.
I'm like, you might as well enjoy your time here because you literally, it's a weird control thing.
It was a real mind.
You can't control when God's going to strike you down one day.
All I can control is this spray tan. All right. Yeah. My bad week is that something horrible happened to Callie. She's fine. Wow, I really sold that.
Oh my God,
so when we went on our trip, we went away. I don't like, anyone can do whatever they want. I haven't found a good LA place that like will take your dog for vacation. That's like a place. So we, have our dog house sit at a house by a woman named Melanie. And she, over the holidays probably have like 5-6 dogs, and she's watched Callie for years when we go somewhere where someone can't stay at the house. I prefer to have someone come stay at the house. But anyway, my child, we didn't have that option. So she went and stayed with Melanie. We're literally getting on the plane and we get a text from Melanie that one of the dogs that was there ate the shit out of the side of Callie.
Oh my God.
Callie has never, she kind of like aggressively sniff, like where I think it pisses off other dogs sometimes where they are like kind of like chill out. But it's like she's so happy. She just wants to be your friend. She's the same with people where she's like, I just want to lick your inside your mouth at all times. Anyway, she got this huge bite. Melanie had to take her to the vet, get creams and all this stuff. And I was like, you know what? I'm supposed to be on vacation. Everything's supposed to be good. And then she just got a giant bite taken out of her. It's healing now, but it was like super, not scary, but it's just like, and I already have so much trouble with her because she's a scrappy street dog that like when she sees other dogs on walks, she's kind of scared of big dogs. Like this is like the 3rd time she's been bitten by a big dog. So anyway, not great. Please give me advice. My good week.
Well, I was going to say you should look into, there's a lot of people now, like apps and websites where it's people who will come to your house and they've been background checked. They love dogs. Some people are
I know.
People with roommates who just want like some solitary, whatever.
And your house is so nice.
Yeah.
I know. My parents actually do that in Canada.
Yeah.
They've done it twice. They've gone and stayed at people's houses in BC to watch some cats.
That's great. Yeah. That's what you should look for now.
That's retirement. Okay. My good week is talking about Jack's book club. I'm starting my own book club called the Keltie Book Club. And there's nothing official. We don't have an Instagram page, nothing. No, I'm just kidding. I asked everyone what I should read before the holidays. And I got so many book recommendations and I've been reading them all. And my good week is that I finally found a SMUT book that has to do with the Canadian most important topic of all time.
Hockey team?
Hockey. Yes. It's called Consider Me. Many people told me about it. It's basically this girl this hot hockey player who's winning a Stanley Cup, like picks her out and wants to date her. And she's like, no, I don't date hockey boys. I'm not a puck bunny.
Oh.
And then they have crazy sex and he does her in the butt and it's great.
Whoa. How does that go in writing? The anal.
The butt? Oh, no, it's like they do it. Oh my God. I actually should have like quoted it.
It's called the back door.
No, it's like in all my dark places or like
So it's like a euphemism.
Took me. Yeah. It's the way this one was written was very like he held on to my deepest place or he,
I hate this.
I know.
I hate it.
He palmed like instead of like just being like, he rubbed my clit. They'll be like, he pulsated.
This just keeps getting worse. Please stop. Please stop. Please stop. Please stop.
Okay.
Please
Next
stop.
up,
let's have that be the first and last time you say clit on this.
Rubbed my clit.
Michael Yo coming up. Idiot. Bye.
Oh my God.
The LadyGang.
Today, we've got someone in the house who truly embodies the energy we love. Funny, fearless, and full of incredible stories. Our guest has done it all. He's a 2-time Emmy nominee, a comedian who knows how to bring the house down, an actor you've probably seen gracing your screen, and he's got a brand new comedy special, Snack Daddy, coming out January 28th. You might remember him from America's Got Talent when he bawled like a baby, his razor-sharp commentary on Chelsea lately. And if you've caught one of his real comedy specials, then you know this guy isn't afraid to keep it real and take his family along with him. But there's so much more to him than his career. He is a proud dad, husband, and someone who's navigated the ups and downs of life with a very positive perspective that is very heartwarming in this terrible, terrible world. He is a master storyteller who has a knack for making us laugh until our cheeks hurt and then surprising us with moments of telling us how ridiculously narcissistic Keltie is. Without further ado, Lady Gang listeners, please help us welcome back to the Lady Gang, the one and only hilarious friend, the unstoppable snack daddy himself, Michael Yo.
Hey, I mean, that intro, Keltie, now ChatGPT is great, isn't it?
I feel like she wrote that one herself.
I wrote half of it myself.
No, Keltie is a phenomenal writer. That's why I was just a joke, but I know you write a lot, and that's so your voice. So either you or ChatGPT really knows your voice well because you crushed it, Keltie. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Michael. We're so happy to have you back. Actually,
I know.
I'm now regretting it because I remember the last time you were on how you absolutely rolled me. How do you call it?
Oh, what rolled you? Oh, you mean made fun of you? You mean like put all your business out there?
Roasted?
Yes.
Roasted. You roasted me.
Yeah, if you don't remember, Keltie, me and Keltie were on the Insider, and we go to the first meeting, and Keltie thought she was the host of the show, and she's the only one in the whole room that didn't know she was hosting the show. She was just a correspondent like me, and it was just so funny because I'm talking. This is the first time me actually talking to Keltie, and I'm like, oh wow. I'm a correspondent. What are you? And she goes, I'm the host. I was like, oh, okay. I go, I thought this other lady named Thea was the host, but okay, whatever.
The delusion.
Dress for the job you want, not the job you have.
That's right.
That's what I'm saying.
100%. Okay, so I want to talk about, you've got this new special called Snack Daddy.
Yeah.
Now, I thought it was a sexual innuendo, like Snack Daddy, like he's so hot, but it's actually about giving your kids snacks, which feels more relatable.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a double entendre, I guess. You could say if you think I'm sexy, then it's a snack daddy. But yeah, it all came. My kids always ask me for snacks. And the biggest problem is they call me snack daddy at home. Like, can I have snack daddy? Can I have snack daddy? So I would give them snacks. But then they told all their friends at school my name was Snack Daddy. So then I went to school to read a story. You got to read a story to the class. I walk into the classroom and all the kids are like, Snack Daddy! And it was so weird, right? Random kids calling you Snack Daddy, which doesn't look good in front of their parents either. Let me tell you.
No.
So that's how the whole name came about, and we all made fun of it. And then, so it's just like the other special. It's all about my family and my parents, and it's great, man. I just love bringing people together through comedy. You know what I mean? It's kind of like what's great about the Lady Gang. You have your people, because it's like one thing I love is with any platform, you start and you want to please everyone. Mm-hmm. And then once you get to a certain point and learn your voice, you're like, these are my people and this is all I care about.
Yep.
And that's the hard thing to learn about Hollywood. That's the hard thing to learn about podcasting or any profession is once you really know what you're doing, you find who likes you and then you just concentrate on them. And that's what this special is. It's all about family and the people that really like me, that grow with me. I'm not trying to be somebody I'm not. And that's what's beautiful about it.
I love that.
I love it.
Now I have a question.
Yes.
You self-funded all of this? Like it's going on YouTube, right? Because I was like trying to figure out where it's going. And I was like, I think he did this himself.
Yeah, so I self-funded my last one. Joe Coy started me in comedy, and my last special, I was so frustrated because like Hollywood, you get a bunch of no's. So I shot this special. My agents were like, we're going to shop it around. I go, no, we are not. I'm going to put it out myself because I think at that time, mentally, I would have felt so disheartened if somebody would have, like a big, like Netflix or somebody would have been like, nah, it's not good enough. So I go, I'm tired of hearing that. I'm going to take it straight to the people. So I put it on my platform. I only had 3,000 YouTube followers. This is the state of mind I was in. I'm going to put this out and whatever happens, happens. If I get 10,000, 15,000 views, great. But it blew up and now I got close to 200,000 followers off that YouTube special. And now I have a platform. I got my own network where I can put out stuff on my own and own it and just distribute it. I signed distribution deals on everything. And, moving forward in life, it's all about owning your content And success is being able to say no to things you used to have to say yes to.
Yeah.
Because that's where you really want. It's not about money. It's not about this. It's being able to somebody to come to you with an opportunity you used to have to beg for or say yes to, even though you didn't want to do it because you needed cash or whatever the reason was. And now you can just like politely pass. No, I'm good. I'm good. And that's what's amazing right now about my life. You know?
That's awesome. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is harder, killing it on stage for an audience or getting your children to eat vegetables?
Getting my children to eat anything. Like my son will only eat rice. I don't know if that's the half Asian side of right?
Mine too. And we're not Asian. We're Jews.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the is this?
I don't know, man. My son will only eat rice, but it's like special rice.
What kind of special rice?
He will only eat hibachi rice.
Oh, fancy.
I mean, I don't blame him. Hibachi rice is delicious.
Delicious.
Yeah.
It's the best. It's the best. So every night, I swear, our kids are so spoiled because we like hibachi too. That's the only reason. But our kids will be at a restaurant like at like Cheesecake Factory or something, and the waitress will come over and they'll be like, "We want hibachi." I'm like, "Oh my God, they don't have hibachi here."
Like, shut up.
You know, it's just
hibachi has some vegetables in it, so you're winning. Does he eat around the vegetables?
No.
Just
rice. Just the rice. And my daughter will eat just the noodles.
Yeah.
So they don't eat any vegetable. What does your kid eat from everything or just rice?
I'm like 2 seconds away from like force feeding him in his sleep. Like I don't even know how you get kids to eat vegetables, but we're not getting it. He's 3. He's almost 3. He'll do rice. He'll do noodles.
Yeah.
He'll do cheddar bunnies. He'll a pancake. He crushes pancakes.
This sounds like I'm 3.
This does sound like Keltie's diet.
It is. Oh, and anything with sugar, which is just like I have become everything I thought I would never be as a parent. I am textbook that parent. It is.
You're a snack mama. You're a snack mama.
Snack mama.
That's right.
So much so, do your kids do this when we have established something so dangerous that in the beginning of him starting school, we were rewarding him at the end of the day with a snack in the car with like a gummy or a whatever, you know? And so now every single day, if someone's picking him up from school, if you don't have a snack in your car,
oh no,
he's going to make you pay.
Oh yeah. So my son and daughter now, we've tried to go more healthy snacks, and they're pretty smart, so they get it.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, that's not real snacks. But
we just broccoli.
Right?
You're like, this is a
even like the healthy
pea shoot.
Even like the healthy f***ing muffins. My kid's like, what is this?
Because you can tell the difference.
Yeah.
Anybody can.
It's terrible, but man, I am that parent. I remember watching a kid. This is when my wife was pregnant with our first kid, and there was a parent at this table eating pizza with their kids, and the kids had to be like 1 or 2, and the parents looked exhausted. And there was this 1-year-old just playing with a knife on the table, like a butter knife, right? Just like swinging it around, and the parents didn't do anything. And I look at my wife, I go, look at those are terrible parents. Literally cut to 2 years later when we have our kid, me and my wife are exhausted and we're at a table just talking and we look over and our son just has a knife and like, wow. I'm like, oh my God. It's crazy. It's crazy.
How old are your kids?
7 and 4.
Oh my God.
Wait, so when you're snack daddying, what are we doing?
What are you serving?
Donuts.
Yeah.
See, okay. So we have a rule in our house. They can have snacks, but they got to do stuff, and it's only like 1 or 2 times a week, right? So, but when they go hard. You know, like donuts, the gummies. I mean, all the stuff that could kill them in the future, we give that to them. You know what I mean? Because we're still alive and we ate McDonald's every day drank out of water hoses. So I'm like, you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
You're going to be absolutely fine. You know?
Okay. What should Jack Vanek is currently family planning? She just got her first house, and we're not. I mean, I think they're practicing but not trying. Jack, you would say? Maybe they're not even practicing. Let's be honest. But what do you want Jack to know about how much her life is going to change once she becomes a snack mama?
A snack mama. Okay, so I will say this. 1 kid, no problem. No problem. Compared to 2 kids. If you ever have 2 kids, you can have 10 kids because you're always up, you're always moving, you're always doing something. I remember a friend told me that. He goes, look, he said the exact same thing. He says, you got 1 kid, enjoy that, because this is when my wife was pregnant with our second. And he goes, once you have that second, feel free to have as many as you want because it won't make a difference anymore. Because it really won't.
Here's my rebuttal, because I have, I was going back and forth for so long about 1 kid or not, right? 1 kid or 2, whatever.
Yep.
And then I realized when my friend has a daughter who's a bit older, it's just a singleton, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my friend called me and she goes, I know you're trying to decide what you should do. She goes, but if I have to play with my daughter for 1 more second, give your child a playmate. Give that kid a playmate, because all I'm doing is on the floor with dolls all day.
That's a lie. That's a lie. That's a lie. Because guess
I
what?
love this. I love
Because
this.
now you're playing with 2 kids that don't want to play with each other.
Yeah, what if they don't like each other?
Now you're on the floor, and now they're like, now my son is like, Dad, play with me, and my daughter's like, no, I want to play with you. I want to. So now you're between Barbies and Legos, dude. I'm telling you, it's not even close. It's not even close, because and then they start competing for your attention.
Yeah.
So now you got 2 kids just going over here. And then if you give one too much attention, the other one's like, well, you're not giving me any attention either.
It's literally like me and the Lady Gang.
Yeah,
Yes.
it is.
I'm the snack daddy. I'm the lady daddy.
You
Between
are.
Jack and Becca, I have to. No, I don't really.
Wait,
Neither one of
it's
them
true.
wants my attention.
I do love this because I'm an only child, and I only want 1 kid. Oh, you are?
I am too. And
Amazing.
I love it. And
I love it too.
Yeah.
And I can only envision myself having 1 kid, and Becca has already been trying to bully me into having 2 before I've even had 1. So this really helps me with my decision to only have 1.
I am telling you. Look, I love our daughter. Our daughter is amazing.
But
There is no buts. I love her. But sometimes you think, oh, wow, how much easier life is with 1. Like, not in a negative way. It's like, oh, wow, today is really hectic. You got double the things you got to go to today. We got to go to a son's soccer game, and we got to go to my daughter's gymnastics. And then now we got to go to 2 plays, and now we got to do this, drop 2 different drop-offs, 2 different this, 2 different that. And now I understand why that guy said you have 2, you can have 10. Yeah. Because you're always doing something, and they're never on different schedules. They go to bed at different times. So like you're up late still because the other one doesn't want to go to bed. You know what I mean?
Now, do you think that because yours are a little bit apart, like 3 years apart?
Age-wise, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that there's actually like, and I already this up because my kid's too old. I'm way Although there's an argument for like having them really far apart, because then you're like, it's once your kids are older.
No,
like,
that's a terrible idea. That's the
this.
worst. Who are you all getting advice from?
All
Who
of my
have you had on this?
friends.
Your friends are idiots. I've got to be honest with you. They're dumb. Your friends are absolutely dumb.
I know.
Becca,
I know. We're all dumb. Actually, Michael, guess what? All of us who chose to procreate, we're all dumb.
No, we're not. We're not.
I'm buying a house in Mexico, so you guys live your life with your children at drop-off. I'll be on the beach.
Becca, have you ever thought about that your friends are saying this because they want you to be in misery with them?
It's my friends who have 1 child that are like, do everything you can to try to have a second because they're sick of being their kid's playmate.
No, but see, they don't. But no, because they don't know. They don't know that they're going to be having to play with 2 kids.
Okay, here's my other justification. I'm sorry for all the people who don't have children. I know this is...
No, I love to watch you fight with Michael Yo. This is amazing to me.
This is mind-numbing, okay? I'm sorry. So I have an older sister. And my parents, when they did travel without us, I really didn't mind because I had my sister whether we were going to like some like grandparents like crusty musty house together, or like some weird person that my parents met twice was coming to stay at the house with us. Like I had my teammate. and I plan on leaving my kids often with somebody else. So I don't want my son to be on a solo mission with some weirdo who only walked our dog twice to like, he has a partner, a person.
Let him stay with his friends.
Yeah. No, you can't put that on families.
No, I will not let my kids stay my kids are already, my son is asking to stay at people's houses. I was like, no, you don't know these people.
No,
like,
I agree.
We're so protective compared to what, like, I remember my parents would let me stay anyway. They didn't even care where I was, my parents.
No.
They didn't, you realize, I'm older than y'all, but you realize they had a commercial that came on TV at 10 o'clock.
Yes, do you know where your kids are?
You know where your kids are. Like, they had a commercial
at
that
10.
had
to remind people they had children.
Children, yes. That's the age I grew up. Our parents did not care about. Literally, I would leave the house. I was talking to my mom the other day. I was like 9, and she would let me walk with my friends 2 miles to school when we were all 9 years old.
That's
like we had it was like our parents really did not care about us. We care too much, I feel. And going back to the only child thing, Jack,
yeah.
Let me tell you about being an only child. This is a pet peeve with people with brothers and sisters. When they find out you're an only child and you say something and they go, yeah, figures. Like that whole, oh yeah.
Like me and Becca to Jack.
But Michael, I own that I'm the baby of the family, and there are some traits and qualities of mine that's like, oh, you're the baby, and so you have to own, here's why you can't take that. Here's why you don't like it, because nobody ever made fun of you, and that's why you can't handle that feedback.
That's true.
Because you're an only child.
No, because your point, Becca, is only that, like, you don't actually make a point. You just go, that's why.
Of course.
But there's really no that's why. Like, what is the reason behind it? There's not ever a that's the reason. You just go, that's why you're like that all the time.
That is so true. I'm like, explain?
They
could.
can't. They can't.
I could
No, they can't.
always.
They can't.
I can back it up.
No, no, you can't, Becca. No, you can't. With all your bad advice from your friends, let me tell you something.
Mine is true. I cannot be made fun of. That's for sure.
Oh, really? You're sensitive that way?
I'm so sensitive.
Well, no one beat her ass when she was a kid.
Yeah.
I mean, but people at school did, but I didn't have a sibling like literally beating me up like most people did.
Yeah.
Oh,
Michael, how did you go into like the most rejected business, like the business where you get the most rejection, like as somebody who didn't have a sibling doing that?
Because his parents were so mean. His parents hated him.
Yes, my parents hated me growing up. I was never told they never told me they loved me till I was close to 30.
Oh my God.
This is true. But they loved me. It's just they never said it. And I was...
You're like...
This is like my therapy session.
No, but comedians are so f***ed up. And this is the thing. This is why you're one of the only comedians that we can have on LadyGang, because you're so f***ed up, but you're fun still. A lot of comedians are very dark. Yeah. And it's because of stuff like this, where they the reason you become a comedian is because you needed to your life was terrible and you needed to escape, and you made it funny. But you're funny at the same time as being so traumatized.
No, they didn't tell me they loved me, but they were there. It's not like they were both there. They're still married. I had a great life. Like, my dad has a PhD in nuclear physics. My mom is a huge entrepreneur. Like, they were there. I had great parents. There's certain things that parents do that they didn't do, like the I love you thing, but their thing is well, we put a house over, I put a house over your head, of course I love you. Why would I do that?
Know.
You should
You know why you did actually make it in comedy? Well, you are obviously very, very funny and smart, but it's because you were used to getting scraps.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I am low on the totem pole. Let me tell you something that's so interesting. And I don't know if Keltie's been through this, but it's interesting to be a comedian versus a host. And I know Keltie's still a host, but I used to go to auditions for movies and stuff like that. And I still do at times. But they used to go, oh, you're a host. Go ahead. It's kind of ugh, you're a host. Mm-hmm. Go ahead. But now that I'm a comedian, I'm getting roles that they already know my work. So when I go in, they'll be like, oh, I saw you at the Comedy Store. Oh, I saw you this. Oh, we can't wait to have you out. There's this different excitement from being a comedian and a host. And that's a thing where it really affects you mentally, because I used to get so upset when I used to go to auditions for anything. And they'll be like, oh, so what do you do? You're a host? Okay, go ahead. It's literally that, just kind of blow you off like you're nothing, like anybody can do what you can do. And then I started being a comedian, and the breakout moment for me was I was on the set of Modern Family, and Julie Bowen and Ty Burrell knew I had a show at the Comedy Store because we were shooting, and they go, he has to leave. The producer's like, he has to leave to do a show at the Comedy Store. And they stopped, like they said, cut, and they came over to me and go, how do you do that? That's so amazing. Like it was so odd. And I go, you're on the biggest TV show at the moment right now.
Yeah.
How do you know, yeah, but people write our words. So that's when I learned, being a comedian in Hollywood, actors even look up to that. And they're like, wow, that's something I can't do, which is very cool. So that's when it started changing.
Scariest. It's the scariest. The thought of that is so terrifying to most people.
God. Yeah.
That it is. It's pretty amazing that you do that.
Well, y'all do live shows. How is that?
And know, yeah, but it's the same. Like we'll have shows where within the first 10 minutes, like you're walking out and you're like, ooh, we got to win these people over. Even though they paid to come see us, like this is, or there's days where you walk out and you're just like instantly funny, and it's definitely a weird thing to keep choosing to do that over it. And I know sometimes you go places and you do like 2 shows a night. So it's like, it's just really crazy. I want to get your take on the 2 years of the Golden Globes. I know Joe Coy is a good friend of yours and has been a mentor to you. He did the Golden Globes. It really, the ratings were in sale. It really good, but he kind of got killed for it. And then Nikki this year, like, what are your thoughts? I think it's a very thankless job, but I think she crushed.
I think Nikki crushed as well. Here's the thing about roasting comics and like comedians. I think it's phenomenal. Like Nikki Glaser did a great job, but also you got to remember, like the biggest things with roasting comics are the writers behind the scenes. Like that's what's like. I'm not going to say I'm upset, but the Tom Brady roast, I had 5-6 friends write most of those jokes for everybody.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And they're never mentioned. They're never, like Joe Coy got in trouble for throwing the writers under the bus. Well, what about the opposite when somebody crushes being like, hey, you know what? I performed this. I didn't write it. Big shout outs to these people. Now, Nikki did do that though. She put a picture up of all the writers, and that's awesome. But people got to remember, when you're watching these roasts, there's a handful of roasters that write pretty much all their jokes, and then there's a whole lot of them that become famous for not even writing their own jokes and roasting.
Oh, interesting.
I didn't know that. I was assuming if you're a comic up there,
I know
obviously write your own jokes.
Tom Brady roast was written by like 5 to 6 comedians behind the scenes.
Like which ones?
I can't tell you. I'm not here.
Well, are they famous comedians, or are they like?
Yes, everybody on that Tom Brady roast stage was famous.
No. I know the comedians that were like doing it, but
is it like an SNL thing, Michael, where it's like, okay, Pete Davidson is the face of SNL, but there's like guys in the writers' room.
But that makes sense. I just didn't know for like a roast where it's like you're a comic, you should be writing your own shit. Like that's so weird.
No, but it's not. No, because they're high. It's kind of known in that. If you think like an artist, like a music artist writes all their songs,
right?
Like they don't, you know,
right.
like
Beyonce's 15 writers on every song.
100%. Like, but for roasting, there's no way one person can come up with all those jokes, because remember, they're saying maybe like Nikki probably said about 10, 12 jokes on stage, but she probably got submitted 500 jokes for that show.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know what I mean? So you're taking. So like Nikki's the perfect vehicle for that. And she is a good writer, roast writer herself. Mm-hmm. But what I'm saying in all this, there is no way one person can do a whole monologue and write all the jokes. My thing is like, if it's a roasting, I'm talking about roasting material, right?
Not stand up.
And award show. Award show is hard because it's not in your stand-up voice, really. You're doing it for a different crowd. Any show, especially roasting, you got to have a lot of writers or like a couple of writers that really know your voice. And I just wish those people got more credit for what they do. Like I said, I know 6 to 7 writers that wrote a lot of jokes for the Tom Brady roast and different roasts, and they can't get booked in any clubs because they're not supposed to say they do that. You know what I mean?
I hate that.
But it's also kind of like, it's the same as acting, like as far as roasting goes. The people who are getting, I mean, there are writers who obviously get awards for their writing in a script, but like the people who are celebrated are the people who are delivering those lines in a way that's like impacting
100%.
And so I think like Nikki, among others, that there's a skill to it, even if they're not writing their jokes, because then you see like the athletes stand up and read the jokes that the same writer wrote their jokes that wrote
obvious.
Nikki's. It's where you're like, there is a skill to this without her, like 100%. She's bitchy, but she's not like too far. Like her delivery is perfection. And so it's 100%. Like acting. But I think you're right. It's important for people to understand that they're not writing all of that. Like that is
there's no possible way they can write all of that.
I have one more question about that.
Yeah.
So for the roast do the comics that are roasting write their own jokes? And are you just talking about like when like
No, he's saying
up there?
No,
like if Kevin Hart gets up there, does Kevin Hart have a team behind him?
Of course. Everybody.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Everybody has a team behind for roasting. Like, does Kevin Hart have a team when he goes up and does? I'm talking about comedy that's not your comedy. Like if I were to ever do a roast, I would hire like 3 to 4 writers to help me, because that's not what I normally do. Right. Kevin Hart is not normally roasting people.
Right.
He does like a 30-minute set.
Like if you watch Nikki Glazer's comedy specials, it's not roasting. It's a totally different thing. The only person I've ever seen, the closest, and I'm sure there's more, the only person that's pretty dead on, because I've sat beside him, I've seen him perform, that always writes that way is Tony Hinchcliffe. And believe it or not, Tony Hinchcliffe writes a lot of stuff for a lot of the roast. That's what he's hired for the most, is writing for other writers. He's one of the famous ones, but there's so many people. If Tony's 100, there's so many writers that are 10s that are like not big at all, that you would never know. They could be sitting right next to you and you wouldn't know they wrote probably 20 jokes from the roast. You know what I mean?
That's so interesting.
It's also, I mean, it's similar to like late night hosts, Conan, and they all have comedy writers writing their monologues. Like they're contributing, but they're not. Yeah, they're not their words.
And it goes back to your acting thing. One of my friends that is a roast writer, big one. He's not big, but he writes a lot of people's stuff. He goes, I don't get the credit for it. I can't tour off of it, but I know I'm not the right voice for it too. They want it through this other vessel. Right. And that other vessel is these other comedians, Yeah. So it kind of like what you say. It's like, there's always one big writer that gets all the credit for a hit TV show. And then there's like, especially on a sitcom or a drama, like and then 12 writers that get no credit at all. You know what I mean?
It kind of reminds you.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead, Jack.
I was going to say, it just kind of reminds me of some comedians that got big off of Twitter, like back in the day, and then they'd try to go do stand up, and it would bomb because it's like, you're a great writer, but you're like, you can't deliver at all.
Well, let me tell you, yes, exactly. I used to have to open. This is when I first started when, what was that 6-second thing? Vine?
Vine.
So there was a bunch of people that blew up on Vine. And then they were like, people thought they were funny. So then they started booking out comedy clubs. And the problem is they would sell them out, but they had no time to do stand-up. So literally they would bring comics out to do an hour of their show, and then they would stand up there for like 15 minutes. Ooh. And we would get paid nothing. And of course, they deserved it. They sold out the place, but they didn't know how to do stand-up.
Oh, yeah.
So
we see that a lot of times with these live podcast shows too now. I mean, we've been touring for so long that we've sort of perfected our show. And that's one of the things that makes me really proud, is that people are always like, oh, you guys put on a show. Like we have assets, and we have a beginning, a middle, an end, a audience participation, dances. I mean, we really like go there, but it's a thing, like talking into your camera. Making a podcast is one thing, doing a live show is another. Okay. Yeah. I know I got to let you go, but here's my last question for you. Yeah. It's a very Hollywood question.
Okay.
Chelsea Handler's hosting the Critics' Choice Awards.
Yep. Is that still happening, by the way?
They moved it to the 20. Yeah, it's postponed. Okay. But it's back on E. Mm-hmm. And so this, in my brain, I know nothing, even though I work at E. In my brain, this is me saying she's the host. No, I think they should bring Chelsea Lately back. If they bring Chelsea Lately back, would you go back on Chelsea Lately with Chelsea?
First of all, they would never. It's not them bringing Chelsea back. Chelsea would never go back. Oh. That's the thing. You don't think E wants Chelsea Lately back? They've been wanting Chelsea Lately ever since she left. So Chelsea true. Has moved on from that show. And I think it is, like comics, you evolve and you're like, okay, how much do I want to talk about celebrities every day? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like she did it. She mastered it. You know what's great? People stop me still today, saying that was one of the greatest shows because it was lightning in a bottle, right?
Yeah.
And how many people have tried to replicate that just
everyone,
can't?
Even us.
Yeah.
And you just can't. Chelsea is, amazing. And that moment in time it was so great. I was on every year. I did over 80 episodes with Chelsea, and it was a phenomenal time. Literally, she was the American Idol for comics. Yeah. You would go on that show. I didn't even do stand-up. This is when I first started. I was selling out shows when I didn't even have enough time. I would put myself in the middle and bring like a Theo Von at the time or a comedian to close the shows. But that's how powerful she was. She took retired comics that didn't even do it anymore, put them as writers, and then they started touring.
Wow, like, so cool.
It was crazy, man, how strong that show is. So yeah, she's going to crush the Critics' Choice. And I'm excited she's back, but she would, unless it was more serious talk, I'm sure like things she wants to talk about, like more of like the world and what's going on in it. She would do that possibly.
Well, she could do like what Jimmy Kimmel does. He kind of does like.
He does a good mix.
He does a really good mix of like what's really happening in the world and then like fun conversations with celebrities.
I'm interested to see the next move for Chelsea because if any person deserves a late night show, to me it's Chelsea.
Oh yeah.
And I talked to her probably about a year ago about it. We just crossed paths, and I think I just told her I think you would be phenomenal at late night, and she's the type of person like she's very. I think she's the one that's like she thinks it out. Like it's not about her being ready. I think is everybody else ready.
Yeah.
And she had such good timing with Chelsea Lately. And I compare it to like Dr. Dre. Back in the day, he made this album called The Chronic. And he always said, oh, I'm going to come back with another Chronic. And he never did because the expectation was so high too. Yeah. Once you made a classic, it's hard to be like, oh, we're going to do this again. Because people are going to, always judge it. Like she tried it on Netflix at the time, but Netflix wasn't as big for live programming at the time. Yeah. So,
but she's like our Taylor Swift. Like it doesn't matter what she does. We're all following.
Yeah. I just miss her, man. Like I
miss her. Yeah.
I miss her on TV and the Critics' Choice, and she has a residency in Vegas. So, I just feel her presence is missed because she has done so much for so many people. Oh, like she took me as a reporter and opened the doors to this whole new career. That's my income. It's my livelihood. And she opened that door. And I remember when I first started comedy, she used to joke about me. And the one thing she said is, and I'll never forget it, she knew I wanted to be a comedian. She goes, you're going to get a lot of opportunity other people don't have that are comedians because you're on this show. Make sure you do the work and don't suck. You don't want to be the guy that shows up to the club and they go, the only reason he's here because he's on TV. Yeah. You don't want to be that guy. And I remember that, and I took it to heart. But man, Chelsea, she's missed on TV. Awesome. I'll tell you that. Yeah.
Well, Snack Daddy, at least we can watch you. Snack Daddy, the special on Michael Yo's YouTube.
Or go to michaelyo.com.
Oh, michaelyo.com. That's tour dates, everything.
Yep.
Snack Daddy on my birthday, by the way. Thank you so much for this wonderful birthday present.
Oh, you're welcome.
And we loved having you. Let's do it again soon. And we weren't here for... Nope. We will.
See you next
Tuesday.